Well, hello there. It's another day. I'm Jim Harrington.
And I am Bill Knight. Happy Thursday. You know, this week is a weird week because I think all the weather, but I was sitting there going, oh, it's Wednesday. No, it's Thursday. You know,
And Bill, they're calling for another storm now. They're saying it's a coastal storm that may cause some problems over the weekend. Just we need is more snow. You know, I think that.
Yeah. Well, you know, there was one that was pushing across the nation. That's going to miss us. But now you're telling me there's a coastal one, so that means, well, I might be able to get that one.
Yeah, if you're really
With
lucky.
any luck, yeah.
I know. You know,
I might go bet the lottery. You know, if it hits, I'm going to bet the lottery because
hey,
you know.
for our friend down in Florida in Vero Beach, hey Bart. Yeah, no, that wasn't me. That was Bill who did that. Bart's a friend of mine. Don't do that. Bart's the smart one of the bunch. He's been down in Florida. I hope he doesn't mind me talking about him. I won't give you his last name because, you know, then he'll be signing autographs all day. But Bart is a guy who is from Connecticut, and he had a great career in broadcasting, went down to Florida, and had a better career down there, and he never left. So yesterday, I get a note from him, and he said, you know, he kind of felt bad for us up here in the north, you know.
Oh, thank you, Art.
As he was out sipping a Mai Tai or something in the tropical weather down in Florida. Although he did say that they did have some winter weather down there. I guess that would be what, when it goes down into the 40s or something like that? 50s
yeah,
or 40s?
old man winter came along and saw a leaf in the tree and went,
yeah, right.
that's a storm down in Florida. I used to live in Florida. I know, you know. So
I know. Florida is, I visited there, and every time I go down there, I think, you know, I might like living down here. And then I have to go back to reality, and, you know, I go back to shoveling my driveway. Boy, I got to tell you, it gets harder the older you get. Have you noticed that the snow gets heavier as you get older?
I don't age.
When I was a young stallion, I'd go out and just toss that around like it was no big deal. Now,
it tosses you around.
It does. It does indeed.
I usually, you know, I'll give this a big heave-ho, and when I do that, I lose my footing, and I go sliding on the ice.
That's right. Well,
you know,
it's always a sight to see,
backwards
too.
than forward. Yeah, it really is.
Yes. I was doing some thinking yesterday about where we are right now as a country. Mm-hmm. You know, President Trump tried to be conciliatory with Waltz and with Jacob Fry or whatever, Frew.
I think he's just giving him lip service.
He went out there and tried to say we had a wonderful conversation. We all seem to be on the right page. And I kept thinking to myself when I heard that, oh, he can't really believe that. They didn't last 24 hours. They were criticizing President Trump and minimizing what he was saying in less than 24 hours, both of them. Mm-hmm. So, and I think at one point, President Trump, I think he put on Truth Social, you know, be careful, you're playing with fire. So maybe it was intentional that Trump was conciliatory, being polite and nice, because maybe he figured he just can't go in there and, you know, wield a hammer. He's got to at least show that he's put forward an effort to stop all this nonsense.
Well, if Trump goes in there and rattles the saber, what's the news going to do? Oh, he came in there. He's vile. He did this and he did that. All right. So if he goes in there and talks nice, they're still going to be going, well, yeah, Trump. Now all of a sudden he's differentiated good and bad. But, you know, unfortunately, there are people that are on the bad side. They don't see their bad. They can't. It's like a person that I'm trying to think of, you know, maybe somebody that's lost sight of the fact of their health, you know, and their condition. They look in the mirror and they still see the person that they were 10, 20 years back. They don't see what wreckage has happened to their body.
No, that doesn't happen with me. I look in the mirror and I see someone laughing back
there's
at me.
A beautiful man. Yeah.
No, I keep looking for the beautiful man, but when I look in the mirror, I see, oh yeah, someone laughing back at me. No, I know where I'm at.
When time laughs in your face,
it does. It laughs, and it's very rude about it. You know. You heard about Ilhan Omar, and she got sprayed by some attacker.
That was a cheap, very unrehearsed play for her to say, she wants to make it look like she's a weathered politician. She's under attack. She's been in the war. She got squirted with
apple
a syringe,
vinegar.
Apple vinegar in the chest. Now, if you were there listening to her and you didn't like her and you were going to shoot her with some liquid, even if it's a non-volatile liquid, you'd hit her in the face. No. What was it, below the left boob or whatever it was?
If you watch how they did it,
she gives him a nod.
She looks up at the guy as if this is the cue point, and then she looks back at her script, and he charges at her, and he has a syringe, and he sprays this stuff on her. It's apple cider vinegar, and the instinct would be, I would think, every normal person's reaction would be to step back, move away from the substance, move away from the attacker, but she goes after him. This she's not a very big woman. She goes after him, which says to me, she knows him. She knew this was coming.
She's trying to look tough to her constituents and the sycophants out there that are going, rah, rah, left, rah,
she's
rah.
She's amazing, isn't she? My God, she just...
we should make her president.
She takes a licking and keeps on ticking. It's amazing.
I'm sure she does.
Yes, well, she is a fraud, and she's trying to hide all of the evidence that's coming out about her. I mean, the lady she's got a winery that doesn't produce wine, but yet they bought it for $5,000, and a year later it's worth $5 million. I don't.
Jim, she is the winery. She's the only one I hear whining.
Yeah, the other thing is this. There's another story. See, the media is lying to us. I know this. For our listeners, they're going, "Oh, that's a surprise." I know, but for those who are new to this, the media cannot be trusted. I'm sorry. They've lied. They lied about George Floyd. They lied about just about everything. They lied about the Russia hoax. It was proven to be a hoax. It was proven that Obama was spying on Trump just before he took the oath of office. They had bugs in the Trump Tower, and the media was silent about it because it didn't serve their purpose. So, but they told us a story about this guy Pretti, the guy who was shot over the weekend in Minneapolis. They said, "Oh, he was a great guy. He was a nurse, and he gave all of his free time to charity." Well, I'm exaggerating, but they made it sound like he was Florence Nightingale. Now, all of a sudden, and I think, to the surprise of mainstream media, somebody, I think it was BBC, released a video that they got of this guy Pretti 11 days before he was shot, attacking ICE members. And the ICE members were in a car. He spit on them. He confronted them, got in their face, spit on them, literally. And then he steps back as they start to pull away, and he kicks the back of the SUV, not once, but twice. The first time for no result. The second time, he literally kicked out the tail light on the right side of the SUV. It was hanging by a cable, the tail light on a brand new SUV. Now, people may say, well, it's just a tail light. Do you know how much stuff like that costs? And it costs us, the taxpayers. We got to pay to have it fixed. Every time you see them drag an ICE or a Border Patrol vehicle away because the windows are broken and there's paint all over it, that has to be completely repaired. That's going to be thousands of dollars that comes out of our pocket.
That's big money because you're talking about scrubbing down the vehicle, taking out the dents, putting on new parts, and the paint job on it. It's when you say thousands, you're absolutely right. And it depends where you go. Like I have a body guy that does stuff pretty much a cost for me, but you're still talking big bucks because the labor that goes into it, the replacement parts, everything.
You don't know what kind of spray paint they used. Is it the kind that you can just rub off with a sponge, or is it the kind that you have to completely take it down to bare metal and redo the whole thing? I mean, it's amazing. We look at it and we're almost numb to it. Like, well, there goes that car with the back window smashed out, and
Yeah.
that's going to be a process getting that thing repaired. Now, they told us how wonderful this guy was, but yet we see him kicking and screaming. The first thing the media said, well, we're not really sure that's even Pretti. But BBC did a facial recognition and came back 97% guaranteed that's Pretti. 97%. The media said, well, it's not 100%. That means there's a 3% possibility that wasn't Pretti. Well, then the family came out and said, no, that's Pretti. That's him. It happened. It's for real. The media had to be pulled into the facts of that story. The media.
Because they had an agenda, and they were really quick to have all the nice, well, we got a nice profile picture of him. They've martyred this guy and made him a hero, and I'm sitting there going, wake up, America. This is a bad dude. Don't put flowers and lay him at his, a little monument for him. He was a piece of crap.
He was not the good guy, the angelic guy that they wanted you to think he was.
He might have been 2 years ago. Something happened. Even his parents said, yeah, he quit his job a couple of months before and became acting really strange. And I'm sitting there going, was he programmed? Was he indoctrinated?
But don't get the impression, if you're new to the show, that we think what happened to him was justified. Bill and I speaking for myself, nobody deserves to get shot. All right, that's a tragedy. But you have to understand that he intentionally put himself into that situation. He did it not once, but he did it at least twice, and probably more times. Now they're saying, well, we're thinking that maybe this guy was an activist. He was one of these guys that's a paid agitator to try to get things going. He goes out to different areas to incite stuff.
Think about this. If these guys are getting the money that they were getting, how much was he making a week as a nurse? And how much? And nurses make good money for the most part. I know there are a lot on strike, but they do a lot. But either way, he might have sat there and said, well, I can get into this. I can be a protester, and I'm going to make what?
Well, it could have been supplemental income too.
Yeah.
It could have been.
No. He quit.
Did he really?
Nursing.
Well,
yeah.
Then that explains that. He probably was getting paid the $1,500 a week, cash.
Yeah. And he probably gets, expenses, so he's going, I got it made. And I'm sure if it's cash, you're going to report that. Oh, I didn't make any money. What? $1,500?
By the way, it's not like he didn't stumble into this situation. He inserted himself into the situation.
Mm-hmm.
He got between what happened when he was shot by the Border Patrol, by the way. The media, by the way, came out and said, well, see, he had 2 different confrontations with ICE. No. The one that we just discovered yesterday, that was ICE agents who were attacked, and he was subdued, and he wasn't shot. That was 11 days ago, right? He was shot last weekend by Border Patrol agents. That's why Bevins is, what's his name, Bevino, is back in L.A. He runs Border Patrol. They moved him back to L.A. He was not demoted. He was reassigned. But the media, by the way, wanted to make it sound like he was demoted. Oh,
well, they came right out and said he was reassigned. And I think there's some crap getting ready to go down in California again.
Yeah.
So let's send the guy that knows the terrain back there.
Yeah, I think you're right. So my question, first of all, you trust nobody in the media. The closest people that you can trust, I know you're going to say, oh, you're just brainwashed. The closest people are the people on Fox and the people on Newsmax. I know you're going to say that's BS, but the fact of the matter is the other ones are spinning fiction. They're spinning fiction, and they do it in a very obvious way if you're paying attention, but a lot of people unfortunately aren't. I was thinking, Bill, Go ahead. You have something you want to say? I did.
No, I was just saying, sadly, yeah, I think we only get out of the 100% of news coverage that we have, we might get 2 to 5% that is conservative.
Yeah. Yep. I agree. So where are we now? We were supposed to have a press conference. By the way, they went down. This is interesting, Bill. With all this going on in Minneapolis, Tulsi Gabbard sends down agents. She's the director of national intelligence.
Mm.
The FBI goes down and raids a warehouse in Fulton County in Atlanta that is storing all the 2020 ballots. They legally have to store them. They have to store them for a period of time.
Now, is that the warehouse that they moved everything to in 2023?
They might have, but all I can tell you is they used tractor-trailer trucks, and they were filling them up with ballots and shipping them away. They were supposed to have
it's going to take a while to go through that. Yeah, okay.
They were supposed to have a press conference. Well, I think they must know what they're looking for. I don't think they're going there and just 1, 2, 3.
Well, they have a damn good idea. And, there was pressure. There's still pressure to get rid of Nome. What are they worried about that Nome may be onto? Because they're worried about some. I haven't seen that she's done anything wrong. She's doing a damn good job.
Well, she called right off the bat. She called this guy Pretti a domestic terrorist, and they claimed that she had no evidence he was domestic. They literally attacked her for making that statement right after he was shot. But as the evidence is coming out, who is right? She's right.
But they wanted to paint the picture, and they want her taken out. And the Democrats are willing to take him out. And now I think they're going to get evil towards Tulsi. They were trying to, a while back saying, yeah, they don't really like her. She's uncomfortable. Come on home, Tulsi. Come on back. We'll take you back. They're still kind of doing that. But Tulsi showed up with, tractor trailer rigs going, all right, send the crew in. Let's take everything out because, forget about Tulsi.
What they want? They want these people removed because they're effective, because they're actually doing their job, and they're being effective.
Yeah.
Except I'm not happy with Pam Bondi. She is maybe there's something down the road that she's working on that we don't know about, and President Trump seems to still have confidence in her. But a year has gone by, and we've seen nothing. I'm going to play for you. You sent this to me yesterday.
Oh, yeah, the young lady?
Yeah, Nah Baby Nah is her what she goes by. She's a young lady, and she explains the color revolution.
Very well.
This is what we're going through right now. Listen to what... And by the way, she's a young lady who's intelligent with a voice and a platform, and that's all you need nowadays. Listen.
Experts over and over refer to the fact that what we're witnessing is a color revolution, and they're right. And let me explain why. A color revolution is a communist globalist playbook to take over a country without tanks actually rolling down Main Street. It's how they flipped places like Serbia, Georgia, Ukraine, and they tried to flip a dozen others. The same exact playbook every single time. This is how they do it. 1, they demonize the leader of the people who they actually voted for. 2, they flood the country with chaos like riots, open borders, economic pain. 3, they weaponize the courts, the media, and big tech to finish him off. And 4, they install a puppet who sells the country out to China and the UN. And that's not theory, that's the manual. They opened it on us in the United States the day Donald Trump won in 2016. And here's how they ran it on us step by step. From 2016 to 2020, they gave us the Russia collusion hoax, FBI spying, 2 fake impeachments, Antifa burning cities while CNN called it fiery but mostly peaceful. And the goal was to make you hate the guy you voted for. In 2020, we had 2 a.m. ballot dumps, boarded up windows, 51 Intel agents lying about Hunter's laptop, Zuckerberg dropping $400 million to help count votes in Democrat cities. And the goal there was to steal the election while calling you a conspiracy theorist for noticing. From 2021 to 2024, we had Joe Biden opening the border on day 1, 12 million plus illegals, military-age men from China and Venezuela and all over the world, free flights, free hotels, free EBT cards, all on your dime. Cities collapse, Crime explodes, schools and hospitals break. The goal, to make Americans feel like strangers in their own country. Then from 2021 to 2025, 91 felony charges, Mar-a-Lago raided, gag orders, mug shots. They didn't want to just beat Trump. They wanted to break him and every future patriot who dares to run. Look at what they did to Charlie Kirk. That is a textbook color revolution. But on November 5th, 2024, the American people looked this Marxist coup dead in the eye and said, not today. 312 electoral votes, popular vote landslide, the biggest Hispanic and Black Republican turnout ever. We pulled off the greatest peaceful counter-revolution in world history. But the deep state isn't done. The same snakes who funded BLM riots, the Ukraine coup, and Arab Spring still sit in the FBI, CIA, big tech, and the universities. They'll try again in 2026 or in 2028, but now you know the game. Every time you see another mostly peaceful riot, sudden experts all using the same scripted words, a new crisis 2 weeks before an election, you're watching the Color Revolution playbook live on American soil. Never forget what they tried to do to us. Back mass deportations. If we have no border, we have no country. Protect every America First fighter willing to swing the axe on the swamp. Teach your kids the truth. Communism didn't die in 1991. It just died to tear purple and move to Washington. This is still the United States of America. We are still the home of the brave, and the brave do not bow to color revolutions. Recognize what is happening, stare it in the face, speak out against it, and then we finish taking our country back, one closed border, one drained swamp, and one restored republic at a time. We need to support our president in taking all necessary measures to do just that. God bless you, and God bless the United States of America.
You know, I don't know who that lady is, that young lady, but she's brilliant and she deserves a bigger platform. She's articulate. She laid that out step by step. And I've heard college professors who couldn't do as good a job as that young lady did. When you sent that to me yesterday, I was in awe. I thought,
oh no, she did a great job. And you know, she mentions the color revolution and the Marxist. One of the things you need to pay attention to now, because Democrats, and there are a lot of Democrats, and I'm sure there are Republicans that are too, that just haven't really come to grips with it, but they're Marxist. And now you have, you know, Democratic Marxists where they sit there with the red flag, and they're Democrats, high-ranking Democrats, some low-ranking Democrats. And again, I'm saying there's probably Republicans in there too. We have got a vile corruption in the bed of Washington. So I can see where, you know, Trump is doing a dance on the water with a bunch of snapping crocodiles. And it's not an easy dance to do. But
just before the show started, Bill, I did a search. FBI raid yesterday.
Right.
And I got this came back on the results. Every site it gave me was leftist. Every site it gave me was not just lean left, but usually hard left. USA Today, the Boston Globe, Newsweek. They immediately that raid on that warehouse in Fulton County. They immediately said, Trump is coming out and spreading his false story again about how the election was rigged. Trump wouldn't have his people do this if they didn't have a really good idea that what they're looking for is in that warehouse. Okay?
Well, even more so, if you're on the team, all right, let's just say where you are mentally right now today on the team, you wouldn't go do it if you didn't believe in it.
Well, all I can tell you is this, and I was thinking about this as she was talking a few seconds ago. When nobody has pointed out to anybody, I have not heard this anywhere in years, maybe ever. But the invaders into our country, when Biden was elected, they were waiting on the border in Mexico to come across. There were tens of thousands of people who were already there, queued up, and ready to cross the border. How did they know that Biden was going to win?
Well, okay. How did they know? And Biden, let's look back at him in Burisma with what he did, manipulating different things and money. He and Hunter have had dealings in China. I mean, did we supposedly elect a corrupted
Absolutely.
Politician? He was compromised.
I'm one of those guys that said, "Don't look at me. I didn't vote for him." Which is,
I didn't either. But he was compromised.
I should have that T-shirt. Hey, listen, like and share the show. Jim and Bill. It's another day. Also, if you want to contact us, it's mail@jimandbill.com. We'll be right back.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. So I was talking about Pam Bondi, Bill, and she's done nothing that I can see so far. Liz Wheeler does a show, and she's also a commentator on Blaze. She was talking about Bondi just a couple of days ago. Listen.
Over the course of the past 12 months, how many indictments have we seen from the Department of Justice related to COVID? To the federal government giving your money to the Wuhan Institute of Virology to perform gain-of-function experiments on a virus that became more deadly because of those experiments. Politicians that locked us down, forced us to wear masks, get vaccines or else lose our jobs. How many indictments have we seen over COVID? 0. How many indictments have we seen for the Russia collusion hoax that was propagated, saying, you know what, even though the American people voted for Donald Trump, well, we don't think you should have won, so we're going to try to subvert you. How many indictments have we seen? 0. What about the FBI agents, political agents at the FBI who targeted parents like you who didn't want their children taught critical race theory in public school? They didn't want their kindergartner being told that they're racist because they have white skin or they're oppressed because they have black skin, and there's nothing you can do to redeem yourself from that. What about the FBI agents and the political leadership at the FBI that allowed those FBI agents to raid Project Veritas journalists who had the audacity to investigate Ashley Biden's diary, which, by the way, was real? What about the FBI agents that labeled Catholics as extremists? In a memo they didn't intend for you to see. They just wanted to target you behind the scenes. 0 indictments. What about the government agents, and we know their names, by the way, that colluded with big tech during COVID over transgender ideology, about January 6th? Government officials directed big tech organizations, platforms to censor you. How many indictments have we seen? 0. What about the government officials that staged the raid on Mar-a-Lago? Went into President Trump's house. They raided Melania Trump's underwear drawer, for goodness sake. What about Fani Willis and the lawfare? The infamous mugshot that Fani Willis gave President Trump. She abused the power of her office. Or Letitia James's lawfare against Trump. Or Alvin Bragg's lawfare against Trump. How many indictments of these people involved in this targeted lawfare against Trump have we seen from Pam Bondi? What about the people that were involved in the rigging of the 2020 election, the illegal changing of voting rules and procedures by people who had no authority to change or alter? 0 indictments. What about all of the NGO abuse that was uncovered by Elon Musk and his brilliant genius nerds at Doge? What about the left-wing groups who are committing violence all across our nation and funded by Roy Singham-connected groups sharing an office with the Chinese Communist Party propaganda firm? How many indictments have we seen for that? 0. Left-wing violence continues against conservatives. How many of these groups have been arrested since Charlie Kirk's assassination? This is Pam Bondi's record. This is the problem. And we have a big problem at the Department of Justice. We want President Trump's administration to succeed. We voted for him because we share his America First agenda, and Pam Bondi has become a liability to that agenda.
And I'm afraid she's spot on. If you weren't listening to that in its entirety, you missed the point. She just went through a litany of things. I have another cut I want to play, Bill. It's a couple of minutes long. Guy you used to work with, Glenn Beck. And listen to what he says. This is just reinforcing what Liz Wheeler said.
Pam Bondi needs to be replaced right now. You can't have a country run like this. You can't. The Epstein case. Joe Biden, he handled his entire administration the way Pam Bondi has handled the Epstein case.
I got all the information on my desk right here. It's sitting on my desk right now.
Why did you say that, Pam? And then the next day say, well, I don't have it because the FBI in New York, they won't release it. And then not send FBI to the FBI FBI office and arrest those people that would not turn over the records that you said they were holding. Why didn't that happen? Lack of arrests for various Democratic scandals, including the Russia collusion hoax. Where's that? The Mar-a-Lago raid? We keep finding out it's worse and worse and worse, and nothing happens. How about the 2020 election fraud? A year in, you got nothing. Doge's fraud findings. Do you know how much money has been stolen from the American people? And it appears our DOJ doesn't give a flying crap. The failure to prosecute anyone involved in the Biden era weaponization of government. Everything the Twitter files exposed about what the government was doing. Where is a single arrest? How about Biden's auto pen scandal? Where the hell's that? The lies that happened under oath by the Capitol Police, proven to be lies by videotape about January 6th. What about the FBI lying about the number of agents that were actually there at January 6th? We're going to do anything about that? The lack of apparent investigations into George Soros and all of his foundations. The lack of investigations in COVID is astounding. You know how many people died? Because you all colluded. You knew this was untested. You knew it had dangers. You didn't tell us about it. Instead, you said you have to take it. Nobody goes to jail for that. Where and when will someone pay for any of this? Justice doesn't just have to be done. It has to be seen. No serious citizen is looking for show trials. We're asking for any trials. You've had a year. You're the bottleneck. Pam Bondi should go.
That's Glenn Beck, and I happen to think he's right. Now, here's what I'm hoping. I'm hoping, Bill, that Pam Bondi comes out in a day or two with a blockbuster, case that just completely puts us back on our heels and says this took a year to put together. And for those of you who are impatient, this is for you, But that's okay.
That could be. And that's the one thing that Beck did say that, I get it. I see all that too. And I'm wondering, when's it going to happen? But you need one. It's not that we need everything. We need one, because I get the fact it's insurmountable what has been dropped on us. It has been a well-executed, orchestrated set of attacks. And how do you systematically go through, or do you sit there and get it all together and get one? Now, Trump keeps saying, it's coming, it's coming, it's coming. But nothing is really dropped yet. So, and maybe. And
the problem is we haven't got 3 years. We've got less than a year.
Well, you don't even have that. You don't have less than a year, and you don't have 3 years, because let's say we drop a bomb on them. There are judges standing by that'll sit there and tie it up until they go and somehow get back in, whether legitimately or illegitimately, to where we get nowhere. And then, they shove it back down on us. They've got to sit there and set a stage, and they've got to make it so insurmountable that everything else falls down on top of it. If the Georgia thing, and I hope that this isn't a witch hunt, because I would think that the Democrats are not that stupid to leave the evidence, but then again, they may have. And if there's proof, and they have insurmountable proof that was stolen, then the whole building can cave in on them.
Well, I think that I don't think that they are stupid, but I do think there's a certain amount of cockiness that they have. They've become sure that basically nothing's going to happen to them, because if you look at the track record, the history, nothing has happened to them. There's been no consequences.
They're invincible.
So they figure, well, we don't have to worry about that. Nothing's going to happen. I mean, look at what happened. Steve Bannon and Peter Navarro, they are held in contempt of Congress. They go to jail for 4 months apiece, right? Eric Holder is held in contempt of Congress. Nothing. Zero. No consequences. Hillary Clinton destroys evidence, with the bleach bit and the hammering, the hard drives and stuff. That's gone. Do you think anything happened to her? Nah, nothing. Zero.
Here's my question. Let's just say let's say Pam Bondi takes three things and goes after them right away, and they're big and they're massive. We already see what they've been doing, the wacky left, and they're behind this. What's going on in Minneapolis, and they're setting the stage to do it in Philadelphia They're down in Atlanta, out in California, all across the nation. There's something big going on, and
I
they'll
agree.
drop that hammer. So if we came in with all these things, okay, all right, time to just turn this cart upside down.
See, what he's saying, folks, is that it's not about the ICE agents or the immigrants in Minneapolis.
Absolutely not.
That is just the staging area for the whole revolution. President Trump could have gone up there to Minneapolis by himself and said, I'm giving you everything you want. I'm pulling ICE out today, and you can have the city and do whatever you want. And those people would still be rioting and picketing on this, because the goal really isn't the ICE agents. It's really not what you think it is on the surface and what we're being told by the media. Like Bill said, it's the kicking off point. Think of it as a parade, all right? They started the parade in Minneapolis, but that parade's going to go to Philadelphia, Chicago, Baltimore. This is what
they're already lining up in the streets. It's
yes.
just they're waiting for the instructions. And, the Democrats, they know it's coming. The Republicans want it to come. There's a lot of maneuvering going on here. Now, I am not opposed to thinking that maybe Pam Bondi, Trump trusted her so long, but maybe she was
compromised.
Compromised well before, or placed in, do this. But when the time comes, put the brakes on it.
Well,
now,
what I keep hearing, Bill, over and over again from people is that apparently there are a lot of bad actors in the Department of Justice and in the FBI, people who'll be there long after Pam Bondi is gone. They'll still be there.
Go back to Nah Baby that I gave you yesterday. You just played. She said inside of that we have people in the FBI and the Justice Department. And I personally know somebody, because of blood relation, that is in the former administration and now, is still part of the government. And no, we don't get into deep political conversations. That's kind of the one thing that we're not allowed to talk about. But it is well known and understood by me that, there's a lot of stuff that you probably, you might know, and it's worse than what you think.
You've heard the term slow walk. They'll slow walk something. Here's what they know. They Pam Bondi may say, I want you to investigate this, and I want you to get all that you can get on this topic. And that person, that lifer in that organization, the Department of Justice, may say, we'll look into it. It's going to take at least 2 years. We're going to drag our feet.
That's right.
This investigation is going to go on so that she'll be history by the time it's completed. And when it's completed, we can just file it.
Well, think about this too. There are a lot of, take a military look at it. The guys out in combat. All right, we got to get from here through that meadow over there, but it's loaded with it's a minefield. And so you've got somebody that's got to be your mine sweeper. They don't have time to do anything else. They just got to hope that they find it and not get blown up themselves so that you can proceed forward. And maybe Pam Bondi's got a little bit of that job too, as, Tulsi and Kristi Noem and these other people are out there operating, doing things. I don't know. There's a lot of pieces on the board, and we don't know all the plays.
Well, we're going to find out, hopefully. I don't know. They were supposed to have a press conference yesterday afternoon. They said that Tulsi Gabbard was on her way to Atlanta to have a press conference, and all of a sudden that disappeared. They were teasing it initially on Fox, and then they stopped teasing it. Like, it's not going to happen? Okay, kill that. And they stopped talking about it. So somebody must have said, hey, enough with the press conferences. Get the evidence. Get it back to Washington. Let's see what we have, and wait until we have something we can talk about.
If you have a press conference and put a lot of hope in the air, and then all of a sudden there's nothing. Yeah, they got tractor trailers loaded with everything, but that doesn't mean if I were going to steal an election after I stole it, if I had to keep the documentation, I would make damn sure that it was corrupted in a way you'd never find it. If I didn't, I'll be damned. The building got hit by a plane that lost its engine and it all went up in smoke. I'm sorry. We wanted to, be totally transparent. And as you can transparently see, it's all gone.
Let's take a break here. Like and share the show. Tell your friends about us. I jumped ahead of myself. I do that a lot as I get older. It's right. Jim and Bill, it's another day. Jim and Bill, it's another day. And you can contact us by sending an email to mail@jimandbill.com. I think I got it all right. We'll be right back.
Wake up on the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com.
These breaks are important because I don't know about you, but with this weather, I don't know if it's allergies or
awful.
What the hell it is, but it's like they got another
Folks,
bout of.
Bill and I are sitting in studios. We're not in the same studio.
Yeah, we're far away from each other. We can't stand each other. I'm kidding.
He can't hit me from where he is.
Yeah.
But it's like 0 outside in both of our locales. And
it's -5 here, by the way. I'm looking at it right now. -5.
Well, folks, it's wreaking havoc on our sinuses. And it has been for days. Now, as the day progresses, maybe it's I wake up a bit or the house warms up or something. It seems to get better. But we do the show early on. The first thing in the morning, we do the show. So we're fighting all these sinus allergies and stuff like that. I should move to Florida. I really should. I mean, Florida sounds more attractive. Although it's not attractive in August. It's hot as blazes.
It's not that bad. I used to live down there. So
well, I mean, I've been down there in the summertime, and it's uncomfortable. It's warm, my opinion. That's why a lot of my friends. I have friends who do it right. They go down in the wintertime to Florida,
snowbirds,
and then they fly back to New England and spend their summers up in New England. Smart guys,
Well, yeah, you got to have some money to do that. Yeah, well, what did they do for a living?
I know. Hey, they were in broadcasting.
Well,
I don't know how they did it. Yeah, that's why they're taking the bus and not flying first class. Anyway, Marco Rubio was cross-examined by the Senate yesterday.
Yeah, saw that.
And Tammy Duckworth, she's not the brightest light in the closet, not the sharpest tool in the shed. She was trying to get her point across and show everybody just how smart she was. But Marco Rubio, he forgets more than she's ever known. But it was interesting. J.D. Vance was paying attention to it, and he sent this, I guess this was on Twitter. He wrote, watching Tammy Duckworth obsessively interrupt Marco Rubio during this hearing is like watching Forrest Gump argue with Isaac Newton. I mean, J.D. hit it out of the ballpark. Anyway, here's a little bit of how it went yesterday. Marco Rubio with Tammy Duckworth.
Are we currently at war with Venezuela?
No, we're not in a state of war in Venezuela.
Okay, the Supreme Court has described the Alien Enemies Act as a wartime power, our Supreme Court. And before now, the Alien Enemies Act was only invoked during the War of 1812, World War I, World War II, when it was used to intern thousands of innocent civilians. Are you really arguing that the president should be able to wield an internment law?
No, but we're talking about two separate things here. So you're talking about the state of Venezuela or are describing the regime. And we're talking about, but what the president designated.
Invoked the Alien Enemies Act.
I know, Senator, but let me be clear with you. No, but what the president was talking about are these gangs and these narco trafficking groups that are waging war on the United States. There's no doubt. These groups have waged war on the United States. They have waged, for example, Tren de Agua is not just a criminal gang presence in our street. It is a criminal gang directly responsible for narco trafficking.
The Trump administration has acknowledged that the vast majority of the men it rounded up and deported to torture under this law had no criminal records whatsoever.
We didn't torture
Independent,
anybody.
over 75%.
Who did we torture? We haven't tortured anybody. We've arrested people that are members of gangs and we've deported them. We don't want gang members in our country.
Have found that many of the men were here legally. If the administration is willing to lie about who it's targeting under this law, what protections do totally innocent people have against abuse? Again, I want to ask you, will you advise the president to rescind his invocation of the wartime alien enemies?
No, of course not. I mean, these are people that are threats to the national security of the United States. But I've described this in hearings in the past, including
so you're saying that we're at war?
We are absolutely. When it comes to narco trafficking groups and criminal gangs that are targeting the United States for criminal
activity, we're in a state of war.
There's no doubt about the fact that we're confronting them in a war like that because they're waging war on.
And do the Geneva Convention
They're waging war against us and they're enemy combatants as a result of it. And the fact of the matter is that we are confronting these irregular groups, and that's one of the great challenges of the new century in this hemisphere in particular, is that these non-state actors who possess state-like capabilities in terms of their weaponry pose a grave danger to the United States. I don't think any American would dispute that we have cartels that pose a threat to the national security of the United States.
With all of the other laws of when it comes to warfare. I mean, you're saying that he can invoke this wartime power.
No, I'm saying, you're asking me, I'm here to discuss foreign policy and what's in the realm of the Department of State.
Well,
I think your question is better directed to the Department of Justice.
Enemies Act,
but I would tell you that.
Which is a wartime, which is something that
but you're asking me a question that
can be invoked during wartime.
It's
only been invoked during the War of 1812, World War I, and World War II.
You're
it's
asking
only been invoked 3 times, and this president is invoking it.
Okay, you're asking me a question about the domestic application of a law that's best directed to the Department of Justice.
No, it is
because you're asking me something to opine on something that's in the realm of the Department of Justice in terms of its domestic application. I can tell you that the United States is most certainly confronting terrorist and criminal organizations operating in our hemisphere that pose a grave danger to the United States. Anyone who believes that gangs that flood our country with fentanyl or cocaine are not threats to the United States is not living in reality and certainly does not reflect the opinion of most Americans.
The president already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela again. So we're at war right now. So if things don't go well with the Chavistas you've empowered,
when did the president say he was going to put troops in Venezuela?
A military option, putting you in? What is your criteria for returning to a military option and putting boots on?
Well, I don't recall the president saying he was going to put troops in Venezuela. Where did he say that?
I'm asking you, what are your...
But that's what you said. I didn't remember the president
has already said that he was ready to put American troops in Venezuela.
No, I think the president has said that he retains the right as commander-in-chief to protect the United States against any imminent threats. Maybe that involves troops. Maybe that involves air power. We hope, but we don't anticipate that being the case in Venezuela.
I worry that you're playing fast and loose with our nation.
Well, I just gave you testimony here.
I just want to conclude by...
Yeah, but I just gave you testimony of how well things are moving forward, not as fast as everybody would like.
Yeah, but you also said that in 6 or 9 months, if things don't go well, you're going to have to do something else. And the president's already said that he's not ruled out the military option. And you've also just said that, yes, we are at war. The president has wartime powers.
But every president retains the power to use military to protect.
So it's reasonable for me to ask you...
And I gave you a very specific example. Every president retains the right to defend the United States against an imminent threat. Yes, if there are just give you an example, Iranian drones deployed in Venezuela that could threaten the United States, we most certainly will address that, even if it's located in Venezuela. But we hope we don't get to that point. We don't expect to get to that point. We're not trending in that direction. That's a fact. But that said, on the one hand, people here are unhappy we're cooperating with Venezuela. On the other hand, they want us to go to war,
Mr. Secretary. We don't need to be in another forever war. And that is the path that we are going towards. And let me just say...
Well, how are we going towards a forever war if we're dealing with Elsie Rodriguez every day?
You're not going to ask him to rescind his invocation of the Alien Enemies Act. That puts Americans in jeopardy. And let me just say something about the president's recent comments about NATO allies. When I served in Iraq, there were Polish forces there with us. There were British forces there with us. There were Spanish forces there with us. I personally landed in Elsie, España, which came under direct attack by insurgents. Polish troops who worked with the Illinois military, with the Illinois National Guard for 30 years, died in Afghanistan, Mr. Secretary.
All the president wants is for NATO to have more
our NATO allies have stood beside us.
He wants our allies to have more NATO.
We need to maintain the strength of that alliance.
I get it. All the president wants
your time's up. Not making much progress here.
Well, let me just say, the president just wants our allies to have more capabilities to be involved in operations like that, God forbid, in the future if necessary.
That's not an
unreasonable request.
That they stayed a little behind, and they certainly did not come to our defense. And
well, not every country in Europe, not every country in NATO participated in those missions.
Denmark suffered some of the greatest military casualties.
There's no doubt that many of our allies have stepped forward and provided assistance to us, and there are many others that simply don't have the capability to do it now or in the future.
That's not what the president said.
You know, I got to tell you, my first instinct when I don't know much about Tammy Duckworth is to be critical. But I want to read you something which it gives me pause. I think she's misinformed. I think she doesn't have her facts. But do I think she is an American? Listen to this. On November 12, 2004, she was a helicopter pilot in Iraq. Her helicopter was struck by an RPG, causing injuries that resulted in the loss of both legs and partial right arm mobility, making her the first female double amputee from the war. I didn't know that about Tammy Duckworth. So do I think she's a smart politician? And do I think she's on the right side of the story? No. Do I think she's a patriot? Yes, I do. We don't all have to share the same political views, but I do think she's ill-informed. And
and I also she takes a tactic that forget about the handicap that she doesn't deserve. But the simple fact is, she's using her mouth as a sword, a saber.
Yeah.
And she's coming after you, but she doesn't want to let you get a word in edgewise. She's going to keep on talking, even if she has to breathe between the words. She's just going to keep going. I'm sorry. Legs or no legs, and this is going to sound cruel and mean, but my initial intent is you're not going to let me say what I want to say, and you're going to interrupt me and put words in my mouth. I'm going to quietly close my book. I'm going to get up and I'm going to walk across the floor, smile at you, and slap that grin right off your face, because let me talk and I'll let you talk and we can have a conversation. You can't have a conversation with her.
Yeah, but they do. Bill, it is a tool of the process. She wasn't inventing something yesterday. She was doing what they do all the friggin' time.
That's what I'm
saying.
saying.
You would be slapping the grin off the faces of every opposition who was cross-examining somebody. They all do it.
You know what? And I would do it.
I applaud.
That's why I'm not a politician.
Yeah, I applaud Marco Rubio, because what he did was one of them said, Secretary Rubio, yes or no? Did this? He said, no, wait. This is not a game show. I don't do yes or no. If you want an answer, I give you an answer. I don't do yes or no. He said this. I thought, wow. He just took the wind out of her sails,
Yeah.
and she didn't know how to answer that. And who is the guy who was running for, was it the vice presidency with Hillary? Was it?
Yeah, I saw him there. He was kind of like looking off, naughty.
Well, he said something like, is it true that President Trump, when he was in Davos, said that we have a problem, but we'll address it when we get Iceland? And he says, didn't he mean Greenland? And he smiled. And Rubio answered him by saying, well, we've all dealt with presidents who misspeak, haven't we, Senator? Some of us more than others. And he looked like, he caught me, meaning Rubio was talking about Biden. Everything out of his mouth was a mistake.
Greenland, Iceland, what's the deal?
We all do it.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah, why is Greenland and Iceland when it's just the reverse?
I know. It doesn't make sense.
No, it doesn't, just like a lot of these politicians. But, the one thing I will say about Rubio, I remember him back in the debates, going into 2016 when he was running. And on the stage, he was really sharp.
He was.
And he's really sharp now. He's a very articulate, focused, knowledgeable, I want to say young man, but now, he's in the 50s. Middle years, but he's doing well, looking well. And I wouldn't want to go against him. Trump had to go against him, but Trump
and
actually
what did Trump
won
do? Trump minimized him.
Yeah, Trump minimized him. And they're good friends now. Does Rubio remember that? Probably he does, but and he got his jabs in, but he reduced Rubio to getting into the hand jokes.
Yes.
Yeah, insignificant.
Yep.
I'm just saying, say what you will about Trump, but he's got that down, to a science, to where he can sit there and take on the best of them. And it's not necessarily always knowledge. It's a skill that he has that a lot of people don't.
We have a hard choice in 2028. J.D. Vance, who's articulate and smart too, or Marco Rubio. And some people are saying it's going to be a 1-2 punch. It's going to be J.D. for president and Rubio for vice president. But it could flip-flop between now and then. Who knows?
And that's the one thing, we got two fine racehorses in the stable. And, which one, does JD take the lead and go for 2 terms and then Rubio come in? Because age-wise, Rubio might be in his 50s, but, they could lock down, 16 years.
Yeah.
Because, from now, 76, that ain't bad to be exiting the office after doing 2 terms. And the one thing that, Democrats, that'll never happen. It's interesting that, you look at how things are going to change with redistricting. Democrats are losing 2 seats, and the Republicans by 2030 will have gained 8. That's the math. And we're in a good position now. It's going to be interesting.
But
see how things.
I guess we're going to pick up a lot of seats in 2030. Have you seen the map that came out?
That's what I was just saying. Yeah. We gained 8, and
it's going to be these. That's why they want the illegals to vote. They want
they're
illegals. Go ahead.
No, I was just saying. I think there's a delay here. They want to sit there and disrupt this math because it is not looking good for them. It's not looking good now, and it really looks worse later. But young people I hear, and the people that I talk to, they're not saying and spewing out the negativity that I see that's going on Facebook and social media, and you see on the news. If I go with John Q. Public, sometimes when I'm out there, I don't say, "Well, hi, I'm Bill Knight. I do a podcast, and we're conservative." As a matter of fact, I never do that. Nobody knows. Somebody might go, "Oh, you got a great voice. You ought to do." I've been known to do a few things, and that's pretty much the end of the conversation. But I listen to people.
He wears, don't kid yourself, folks. He walks around with a sandwich sign. I'm Bill Knight. I'm on the radio. I've seen you on the streets.
Yeah, well, and then I have a cup out in front of me.
That's true. Tip me.
But what I'm saying is everywhere I go, I am not hearing, I'll say with very few exceptions, I don't hear anti-Trump stuff. I hear pro-Trump stuff. And this is from people of all colors.
Do you know who's had his fill with the left? Greg Gutfeld. He was stuck in California for a few days because of the snowstorm. In the meantime, Jessica Tarloff, the leftist loon on the 5, has come out and spewed her venom towards ICE and people who believe in the cause of the ICE agents, right? Meaning control of the borders, deportation of illegals, things like that.
Right.
Well, Gutfeld got back yesterday, and he had a lot to say. Listen.
Jocelyn Nungary, Laken Riley, Rachel Morin, Molly Tibbetts. I'm going to just do it because this is just, I can't believe that we're still talking about this stuff. Here's 3 pages of women who have been murdered by illegal aliens in the last 7 or 8 years. The 7 or 8 years that we've been here talking about this and mocked over it. When we showed the embassy, showed the border being overrun and people laughed at us. And now you're here. It's like you're the maid trying to clean up a mess and somebody there is staring at you going, Oh, you got to clean it up better. No, you made the mess. This is the Democrat Party's mess that we are trying to clean up. And you're saying, wow, these ICE agents are using terrible language. We don't care. I'm bored by this. I'm absolutely bored by this. I'm bored by the Nazi stuff. I'm bored by the concerned people in the media. They were not concerned when innocent women were raped and murdered. They didn't care about the 50 who died when they were incarcerated under Obama. They didn't care about the 27 or 30 that were shot under Obama, but now they care now. You deserve no attention on this. You deserve no credibility on this. It's actually comical because here's my feeling. It seems like you're ready for another one. You had good, that went for a couple of weeks. You had this guy, went for a week or so. You're going to need a third one. This is what this is about, because this is what creates the motivation for this drama that could have been prevented if you guys just listened to the sensible people. Why is it that the cities that aren't sanctuary aren't having any violence? Why is it that the rate of violence in what's the name of the city? Minneapolis is 5 to 7 times higher than cities that are 3 or 4 times larger? Why is that? You guys are always feigning this performative ignorance since you don't understand things. You never explain your own ignorance. Why is there so much violence in Minneapolis and not in Texas? Well, see, there are different people. There are people who, when they hear an awful crime, when Molly Tibbetts is murdered, they think of their wife, they think of their kids, they think of their sister, they think of their mother. What do Democrats think about? There's a step before they even think about their family. They think, how does it affect my public persona? How does it affect my potential politically? How do I deal with this so that I get instant gratification and empathy? We don't think like that. We don't care. You can call me a monster that's saying all these people get deported. I don't care. I don't care about any of this performance anymore, Jessica. It's done. And you know what? Neither does Trump. People are voted for the law. They want the law. If you want to cry about murders and rapists, do it on your own time.
Whoa. That's Greg Gutfeld. He has had it. And I think he's right. You know, and the left does that, Bill. The first thing that happens after an incident, how will that affect me politically? Oh, what does that do to our cause? You know, we may say, that poor guy, you know, how about his family? That's what the right thinks. The left thinks, what can we do to use this for our betterment?
Double standards. I mean, look at what's going on now. You know, we're talking about ICE. Well, you know, Obama used ICE to deport, 3 million people? He bombed 7 countries at the same time without congressional approval. We hear that, you got to go through Congress.
Yeah.
You know, where was the outrage then? You know, you sit there and you look at going back to his use of ICE. The chief got an award for mass deportations.
Tom Homan.
Tom
Homan.
The same guy we're using now?
Yes, the same guy.
Now he's a Nazi for doing the same thing that he did for Obama.
But by the way,
Obama's a Nazi too, right?
They have redefined the word Nazi. It's not. We thought about when they say, he's a Nazi, we refer back to World War II. No. They've redefined it. They want Nazi really to mean
to be far worse.
All that we are now, all that MAGA is now, all that Trump stands for now. That's the real Nazi. We're trying to think that they're equating us to World War II. Nah. That really doesn't hold up anymore, right? Because anybody who is intelligent and uses their brain can tell you that the Nazis in World War II were taking innocent people like Jewish people and Catholics in ghettos, and they were killing them for no reason other than the fact that they were who they were, right? But they don't want to be that. What we're doing now is we're taking the word Nazi and we're sticking it on everything. We're sticking it on MAGA. We're sticking it on Trump. We're sticking it on Kristi Noem. We're sticking it on Tom Homan. We're sticking it on anybody. ICE agents, they're all Nazis. Border Patrol, they're all Nazis. Just keep throwing the damn word out, so much so that people haven't got time to think. And before you know it, they're considered Nazis. And Bill, I saw this guy Krasner. We played his audio yesterday from Philadelphia, the DA. He's a Soros-backed DA. What does that mean, you're saying? Maybe you don't know. George Soros, a multi-billionaire. He's a lunatic leftist who has poured tons of money onto causes that are designed to disrupt and ultimately bring down the United States of America. That's what he's done. And he's never gone to jail for it. But what I think is unique is this. His causes are calling us all Nazis. We're Nazis. But what a lot of people don't realize, even though George Soros was born Jewish in Hungary, George Soros, when he was 14 or 15 years old, was an enthusiastic supporter and helper of the Nazis. He went around and he literally told on his neighbors. He let the Nazis know where they could find, well, this family's been hiding over in this house over here, and we're going to put them in jail. Oh, well, that's good. And this is how he made his bones, so to speak. Even though he was born Jewish, he acted as a Nazi. He acted as a real Nazi. So I think it's ironic that all these causes that he's supporting are labeling us the Nazis when the guy who's funding them has a real history with the Nazis. Anyway, we could go on and on. Hey, listen, I looked at the clock on the wall and I realized once again we've blown another good hour. But anything else you want to add, my friend, before we wrap this thing up?
No. I mean, I got everything in. You know, who was the border czar during Biden?
That would be Kamala Harris.
What was the other guy? Mayorkas or something that was?
Mayorkas was the Homeland Security guy, and he was the guy who was walking around saying bright and insightful things,
right?
Like
the
this.
border is not open.
The border is not open.
And where is he from originally?
I think, I'm not really sure. Mark, I think he's from south of the border. He also said this.
Yeah.
He also said this, too.
Is our border secure?
Our border is secure. Border is secure because we are maximizing our resources to deliver the most effective results to our border with the most extraordinary workforce in the world.
Why is he not in jail today?
Exactly. And I guess the reason I brought this up, I don't guess, it is the reason, because I mentioned earlier, Biden was put in as a plant. I'm not saying Obama was a great guy. He's not. But he was put in for going back to the nah baby thing with, the color revolution. He was put in for a reason. And the players that he had were all there for a reason. And Kamala's a part of that, too. And she wants to run again. I mean, what we have out there is really bad.
Yeah,
I just wanted to highlight that.
And we can talk more about it tomorrow. But if you would take us out of here now, sir, it would be deeply appreciated. Because we're all done.
There's nobody in the crowd here that's got a syringe with apple cider vinegar.
Nope. You're all clear.
Okay, well, just in case. Hasta la vista, baby. We're out of here.
Who are we? And why are we here? Will we be welcome or possibly feared? Do we unite and stand tall as a nation of one? Or split and divide to be mocked and shunned? Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our beliefs? Are they red, white, and blue? The truth is out there, you just have to search. Settle for less, you'll be left in the lurch. No left-leaning lies, no socialist swill. It's straight talking truth from your friends Jim and Bill. Are our leaders patriotic, honest and true? Do they share our belief? Are they red, white, and blue? the right side with Right Side Coffee.
Available at rightsideshop.com. All music the property of Jim and Bill. All rights reserved. This is CRN America.